Right, I think I should be live. If anyone can see this, just let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me. Hi guys, how are you? Sorry for the super short notice that I give you. 3 people watching. Just let me know if you can hear me, if you can see the screen, if everything is fine, because I never really know. Hi Team Cosi, hello, how are you? I guess you can hear me because you're saying hello. Benyat, yes, I am going for it. You're totally right, man. Alright, good. So I'm gonna get started on this exercise. I really wanted to do something creative for this challenge. But to be honest with you, I was very much mentally depleted because of all the work that I was looking at over the past few days, over the past few weeks, and all the super creative and super high quality work that you guys have done. And so, you know, it feels a little bit intimidating, but anyway, the model was so cool. You know, I thought, why not giving it a shot? And anyway, once this is done, I'm going to upload the model so that people can download it and play around with the model that I'm going to create myself. But anyway, I was orbiting a little bit around this cube, and you know, this is such a cool model. It's so weird. It's like there is so much to it. And I thought I wanted to do something where the cube was more or less in sort of like transversal perspective. I'll have to start with a camera. So I'm just gonna go inside the Corona camera, and I'm gonna drop in the Corona camera a target object. I'm gonna make sure that my cube is centered, and then in the target object I'll drop the cube so that wherever I move my camera, the camera is always going to be aligned with the cube. Now, as you can see, the camera is a lot bigger than the cube, and that's because the cube might have been imported very small. Not a problem. I'll just grab the cube and scale it by a factor of 100 in all 3 directions. And now the cube, as you can see, it's a lot bigger. I'm gonna move the camera away, something like that. Okay, good. I would like the cube. Let's leave it for now like this, and let's see. First of all, I want to change also the output to something squared. Because it's a cube, I thought, you know, maybe we'll do it square. Maybe it's a stupid idea. Now you see me thinking live, and there is nothing fascinating about me thinking live. Let's try and make like lasers shoot out of this cube. I'm gonna protect my camera so that I cannot spin it around. There we go. I'm just gonna make a couple of these cylinders. I'm gonna change the height segments to something like 20 and maybe the rotation to 50. And I'm gonna make a couple of copies. Maybe change the sides. Maybe change the sides a little bit more. I really don't know what this is going to look like. I'm just playing around as of now. But I guess this is fair. Let me do another copy. Maybe I'll make a couple of them really, really thin. Let me go back to my camera. Okay, would be cool if these elements were actually going from a side to another. How do I do that? Let me grab the camera. What if I rotate the camera in... Can I rotate the camera? Wait, it's blocked. What if I rotate the camera? Yes, okay. In that direction. Alright, this is not what I had in mind, but it works for me. Let's change the height to something like 5,000. Okay, good enough. And maybe I want to move the camera. No, I'll leave it like this for now. Okay, then I'm gonna change my render engine from standard to Corona. Thanks a lot to the guys from Corona for sponsoring me with a license. I really appreciate it. I love that you guys are behind the community, and since I'm making all this content for people watching these videos, I really hope to give something back by making these videos. Alright, let me just drop a Corona light. Let me change the display to something like quick shading. Let me see where the Corona light is placed. Okay, it's on the side. Let me get out of the camera. Let me see. How this is looking. Okay, good enough. Maybe I'll make it a little bit bigger. Maybe I'll move it a little bit away. Good, let's go back to the camera. And let me start creating a material for the cube. I'm going to make a metal. Metal, how do we do the metal? Reflection, change the IOR to 22. Make the diffuse black. And the reflections, I'm going to make them very dark, something like 70%. And I'm going to make this very rough, so maybe 65%, yes. I'm gonna simply change the material by deleting it. And one thing that I want to do, since probably later I'm going to use a texture to make it a little bit more interesting, is to change the UV mapping to cubic, right click on it and say fit to object. And now as you can see, right click, fit to object. Now the mapping is cubic around the cube. Genius, good. Okay, let's see what happens if I render. Whoops. Okay, nice. You can see all the reflections because of the metal. The light, it's obviously too strong, but I like the fact that this side it's on shade and this side it's lit. It's lit, bro. No, that doesn't sound good. Okay, I'm gonna change the intensity to something like 10. Maybe change the color to something like bluish. Maybe this will look a little bit better. I don't know. Let's see. Yeah, I like that. Hold on. Let me do something that I do very often when working on a project. Blue color palette. And so here you get all the options of colors that might work with a blue. These are nice, but I feel like it's too much. Maybe I'll stick to something like this. So, okay, blue, then I could use some orange. Okay, great. So let's create a Corona light material. And the light material, I'm going to choose an orange, something like that. Maybe give it a intensity of 10. And I'm gonna drop this material into one of these big pipes. Then maybe I'll do a couple of duplicates. Gonna change slightly the color and also the intensity, something like 5. Maybe I'll make it a little bit darker. And this one a little bit more yellowish. An intensity of 6. There we go. I'm just gonna select all the cylinders apart from this one, drag and drop the new materials that I've done so they're applied everywhere. And then I'm gonna randomly apply this other light to these other materials. Okay, let's render, let's see how this looks. It's nice. It's maybe they're all a little bit too intense. Also, let me try and see what happens if I add some bloom and glare. And also I have to space them a little bit. As you can see, it's a little bit too... They're all too close to each other, and also they should be a little bit longer. Okay, let's fix this. I'm gonna make all the cylinders height something like 6,000. There you go. And then maybe this element here, I'm going to make the radius of 10. Maybe this one, I'll move it a little bit forward like this. And maybe this, I'll make it 20. Another thing that I want to do, since as you can see the colors are too bland a little bit, if I open up the render again, stop, I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to drag and, actually, can I do this in the light material? Okay, let's try it. I'm gonna select all the materials. Ah no, I cannot do it. Okay, then I'll have to do it for, let me see, can I do it with all the light materials? Yes. So I'm gonna introduce a Fresnel. In the Fresnel, I'm going to invert the gradients. Let me go back. And I'm going to set this to multiply. Let's see what happens if I render now. Because as you can see now, the light, it's all very well distributed along the whole surface. And I would like the light to be a little bit darker on the side, a little bit like if it was, I don't know, sort of like the sci-fi look when the lights are overdone, so to say. Let me re-render and let's see if we have changed something. Oh, there's somebody watching from the Philippines. Hi, Mija. How are you guys? I'm trying to make this live also to give you a little bit of a motivation to sort of like trying to do this on your own, right? Because a lot of people say, oh, we don't have the time, it's a lot of work and we don't know where to start. So we'll do one artwork together. I don't know, how long have I been working on this already? 13 minutes. Preparing geometry. Why is it taking so long? Let me stop this. This should not be happening. Please, my friend, no crash, I beg you. So guys, how are you? Because I guess that we're going to have a long conversation. I'm afraid that Cinema 4D crashed. No, no. Oh, god damn it. Oh, no, okay. It worked, great. Okay, let me, instead of using the light material, because I don't know if this is the cause, it was the last thing that stopped working, let's try to use a normal material, and let me see if I can copy the colors. Copy, yes. And in the diffuse I'll say paste, and also in the self-illumination paste. Change the intensity to 10. Then I'm gonna make a couple of copies of this, and I'll do the same here. Copy color, so material 2, paste, and in self-illumination paste. And the third one, I'll do the same, copy, and I'll say paste, and paste. Good, so 6, 5, and 10, I'll do the same here. 10, 5, and maybe let's do 6 here, and let's do 3 here. Good. And I'm gonna take these 3 materials and I'll overwrite them. There we go. And now the one thing that I want to do now with these new 3 lights materials, again, I want to select them all. And I want to put in the self-illumination a Fresnel, right click, invert gradients, and then I want to mix it to multiply. I want to do the same for the diffuse, multiply, and now we should have this effect, hopefully. Let me save this. Save project. We'll save it to the cube. Good. Let's render and let's see what happens. Oh, Miha is also doing this. Okay, that's great. Melomesher, what's up, man? Okay, yes, this is working. It's a lot better. Maybe the only problem that I have at the moment is with this light being a little bit too shiny over there, but we can overcome that. Ooh, I actually like this. Okay, I really like this. Let me go back to my color palette. Blue that I was looking at before. Okay, we could try with some aquamarine to make sort of like a background for this guy here. Let's take the plane, let's right click, target, and I want in the target of the plane to have the camera, so that the plane, if I move it behind the camera, is always going to look towards the camera. Obviously, at the moment, the orientation of the plane is wrong, so I have to change it to, I think, plus Z, maybe? Yes, okay, good. There we go. Let me scale it up, scale it up, scale it up. There we go. And so let me move it down so that it looks sort of like in that direction. Maybe I can also like rotate it. Let me see. Yes, and then I'll move it in the direction. Rotate. It's a little bit unorthodox the way I'm doing it, but it's fine. It works. Good. I'm actually going to protect the plane so that I cannot move it. There you go. And I'm gonna keep it underneath together with the camera and the light, just to keep a little bit of organization here. I'm gonna group everything and call it 3D. The plane is there. Okay, great. Now what I have to do is put a light which allows for the background to be a little bit more separated, but I also want to have a material which looks a little bit more like this aquamarine here, something like this. You see, because I really like the contrast here between these colors. So let's try and do that. I'm gonna go with the material somewhere around here, reflection. Maybe we'll copy this in the reflection. And oops, I copied it into the translucency, my mistake. There you go. Good, and maybe I'll do it a little bit more bright. Yes, and very glossy. Something like 70%. Great. I'll apply this to the plane at the back, and now I need a light. Corona light. Corona light. And I want this light to also have a target, but in the target now I'm going to put the plane. And so the light is always going to look towards the plane. Let me move it like this. I go back to my camera. Let me scale up the light so that I see what happens. Okay, great. I'm going to turn it like this. Maybe squeeze it a little bit. Scale it down a little bit. And now I can get rid of the target. And now I can move it just behind the cube. I'll make this light the backlight. And I'm gonna say visible directly. I don't want it. Maybe the intensity should be something like 10. I don't know. We'll have to test. Let's render and let's see what happens. This is nice, but it's not like I was envisioning it in my head. Why is it not the way I was envisioning it in my head? I don't know. Maybe the cube needs to be a little bit bigger. Let's make it 20% bigger. And maybe the light needs to come, the backlight needs to come from up. So I'm just gonna move it up there, make it closer to the... Let's see what happens now. Yes, I want it to stop. Can you hear the music in the background? Because this is like copyright-free music. In theory, should be copyright-free music. You never know though. I still don't like it. I think that it's a little bit too bland. Let's try and make it 50, and let's try to also bring it whoops, closer to the geometry. Let me go back to my... There we go. Let's see what happens now. This is more what I had in mind. Of course, there it's burning a little bit. I could lower the highlight compression, but I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna move the light away. Miha, I'm very happy to hear that the tunes are okay. And I'm also going to make the light a little bit wider. Maybe I'll make a copy also for the lower portion. Yes, this is more like what I wanted to have. Great. Okay, we're going somewhere. Brilliant. Let me make a copy of this light somewhere around there. R to turn it 180 degrees. I go back to my camera. Let's see what happens now. The only problem is that I might have some of the light now hitting the cube, and so the cube won't have this contrast effect. Actually, it's not really that bad, but no, I don't want to have it. So one thing that I can do, I can say to the backlight bottom, I don't want to include the cube. And so the cube should not be illuminated by this light. And also, I'll stop this. The two backlights could actually be a little bit less strong. Good. Now, I still want to make the geometry here, and actually this I can now hide it because it's just confusing, and I'm gonna hide the camera as well, and eventually also the lights that I have for now. There we go. I want to make the center a little bit more interesting. How do we do this? Let's try and make a capsule. Let's make it a little bit bigger. There we go. Let me change the display to see what happens. Okay, great. The height segments I could make like 20, cap segments 20, and the rotation segments something like 60. Great. Now let's try to create sort of like let's make an explosion and let's see what happens. So how is the explosion affecting this? Let me see. I never really play with these modifiers. I've seen a couple of tutorials, but I don't really remember. Okay, so what is happening here? This is falling down. This is falling down. Is there a way to change that? Strength, decay. What is decay? Okay. Variation. Okay, that's pretty clear. Is there a way for me to do this? Maybe if I turn the explosion to make it go upward? No, nothing changes. Cluster blast speed. Variation. What is this? Okay. Are there more rotation, thickness? Thickness. Okay, I can make those a little bit thinner. Okay, great. Gravity, direction. What is this? Y world. Okay. Explosion strength. Wait, I fear I'm not doing this right. Let's try and see what happens here. Decay. Variation. Okay, let's see. Rotation speed. Yes. Can I have a variation? Yes. Okay, decay. Yeah, that's good enough for me. Can I make this bigger? Yes, I can. Okay, this is going somewhere. Wow. Alright, is there one? If I move this, what happens? Oh, yes, look at that. Okay, this is a lot more interesting. But the pieces are too big. What if I make more segments? 100. They look smaller, huh? 50. But now this is too much of an explosion. Is there like can I do to make it a little bit smaller? How did I do that? Explosion, strength. Oh, look at that. It's almost like if the ray goes inside and make this core explode. Let's give it a material as well. Maybe this is too many pieces. Let's try and render and let's see what happens. Oh, this is getting me excited now. I like that. I like that. I think that I should have the same amount of particles at least on the other side as well. But I can simply like take this capsule and I guess I can rotate it and make a copy 90 degrees. Maybe move it a lot lower. And there you go. You see, since the very beginning I started with this idea that these lasers would destroy the core of this cube, so yeah, so that you know, alright? This is actually really cool. Oh wow, this is really cool. Okay, the only thing is that maybe let's give it a little bit of depth of field, and also like at the back there isn't much going on, but I do like the colors, and maybe the lights should be a little bit more let me play a little bit with the lights. I'm just gonna hide these capsules for now because I don't want to make my viewport too heavy. Corona light, let's call this main light. I cannot win my own challenge. But it's a good question, it's a legitimate question. I don't think I never really won anything in my life, only a few ski competitions, and that's all. Let me make a couple of those lights so that, you know, I can get a variation also in the type of light. And the colors as well. So this should make it a little bit more interesting. Now, the only thing that I have to do is for these two lights to have a little bit of a different intensity, maybe 7 and I don't know, 12. Let's try and render and let's see what happens. Okay, I feel like maybe I would need a little bit more light on this side. Maybe I've done something wrong. Maybe this light should be a little bit more like this, and maybe a little bit closer. 12. Let's render again. Okay, the only thing is that the background looks too green to me. Let's make it a little bit bluer with the reflections a little bit more greenish. Let's see what happens. It's so cool that you guys are hanging out with me right now. I was really like, nobody's gonna come. Ooh, I like this better. Okay, yes, I like this better. Let me stop this. Let me change a little bit the angle of my camera to something like maybe 45mm. This is probably too close, but it's okay. I'm just gonna zoom out a little bit so that the geometry is a little bit more closer to the whole frame. Let me look at the composition in the grid. Okay, maybe I wanna move a little bit the geometry, shift it slightly lower, not too much, 3%. Okay, this should do the trick. And the thing is that everything is now in focus, obviously, right? So I want to move the focus point of my camera right to the middle here, and I want to change my f-stop to something like 2, and then I want to enable the, what is it called, depth of field. Enable depth of field, there you go, so that everything that comes that happens behind the camera, it's a little bit out of focus. And with that, another thing that I want to do is probably, hi Sergey. Oh yeah, you missed 4. You now have the chance to do them all. Let me see. I'm sorry, I have to render to see what I'm doing because otherwise it's not really... You know, the problem that I have with this explosion is that these elements, they now look like little squares, and it's not really natural, if you know what I mean. Is there a way for me to ask the explosion to actually be triangulated? Explosion, variation, blast speed, no, cluster, polygons, automatic, what does that mean? Disappear, I mean polygons, gravity, rotation, special. No, I don't think there is a chance, huh? Explosion, direction. It's okay, we'll leave it for now like this. Maybe I'll just try and make these elements a little bit smaller. 150, 150, and 100. This should make the pieces a little bit smaller. But I still want something to happen in the background, because I have the feeling that the background it's a little bit empty at the moment. So let me take a look at the plane. Where is the plane? Let me move the plane a little bit together with the backlights so that we don't... Okay, let me just move the plane by itself and then I'll move the lights later. Because I want to give it a little bit of a chance, you know, to create space. So the backlights, let's see them. Okay, I need to move them one at a time. Let me see if they're visible through the camera. No, they should not be visible. Let me use this plane to create sort of like what can I create? What can I create? What can I create? Let me create some cubes. It's not very creative. Extension, surface spread, and then in surface spread I say in the object I want to have the plane, and the cubes will be scattered. Now in surface spread I can say the distribution, alignment, effects, there you go. Rotation, random alignment, intensity, there we go. Scale, random scale, and I would like this scale to be mainly monodirectional. The cube, I'm going to give the cube like a more of a more of a vertical shape. I'm gonna make it relative at the back. Maybe we'll make them metal. Surface spread, alignment, distribution, the effectors, effect, rotation, scale, random alignment. Okay, that's the rotation, scale, position, random offset along normals. Okay, let's try and see what this does. Static offset, position, minimum and maximum. Okay, that's what it does. Effect, alignment, distribution, editor, effects, rotation. Let's try to rotate them also in the other direction. There we go. And The object, let's raise the maximum count to something like 1000. Let's see what happens. Hopefully they're gonna be blurry so that you don't recognize them. They just create sort of like a distraction at the back. Pedro, yes, I'll do it in post. You're probably right, man. Now it's too messy. I made it too messy. This is not good. This is not good. Okay, actually, let me just get rid of the explosion. And let's see what happens without the explosion. How are you guys? Everything okay? Garage Farm says, when Fabio wins the contest, the whole system hangs up, going into an infinite loop. It's not gonna happen, don't worry, I promise you that. I was hoping for the depth of field to be a little bit more evident. Let me just change in my camera parameters the f-stop to something like 1. This is very low, it should be very blurry. Unless I forgot to switch on something myself. Have I? Bloom and glare override. Tone mapping. Depth of field. No, should be fine. Let's try and re-render. Maybe I have to separate those objects even a little bit more. Okay, the one it's doing a little bit of a better job, but maybe I'm gonna just move this element further away. Let's see what happens if I frame it again. Should be still visible. Great. I'll grab the two lights and put them somewhere in there. Let's just make sure that I don't see them. No, I do. There we go. Up. And the other light down. Let's render and let's see what happens. So, how are you guys doing in this beautiful... Here it's actually a rainy day. Hey Pedro, I'm really looking forward to have you on the channel next week. It's going to be a lot of fun, man. And we're going to judge a lot of cool projects. I appreciate it, Pedro. Yes, I cannot wait to have you on the show. We're going to have a laugh. I guarantee you that. Okay, maybe the lights at the... now, because I moved the geometry so much far away, they're very small. We gotta, of course, change that. Maybe make it a little bit light, brighter. We'll do the same with this one. Move it out of the way. Let's see what happens if we render now. Okay, I like that. I think it's going somewhere. The only problem is that those elements are too big, so I'm just gonna take the cube and reduce it to... I don't know, I reduce this to 50. And then the sides in the X and Z direction I'll change to 5. So they will be a lot smaller. Probably don't even see them, but you know, surface spread. The beautiful thing about surface spread is that we can say, give me a lot of geometry. And it should not be a problem. Where is it now? Is it on the other side? Oops. That's because I've done something wrong. Okay, let me see if I can simply change the orientation minus Z, and now the geometry is on the other side. Great. Let's render. First of all, let's go back to the capsule And let's make this a lot smaller. 60, 60. And the height segment, something like 20. Let's render and let's see. Oh, the capsules, I did not switch them on. Okay, it's fine. Yes, I like that. So now it looks like there is something going on in the background. That's perfect. That's exactly what I wanted. Great. Let me just switch on the capsules. This looks a little bit better, but I'm almost tempted to do something with motion blur. Let's see. Let's select both of them, E, and I'm gonna frame the position. Then I'm gonna move the timeline to 8. Move the geometry down this way. Keyframe it. Bring this back to 4. And then in the settings of Corona, I'm going to say performance settings for no, to the second, no, frame buffer, no, camera, is it camera? Enable motion blur, enable objects. And hopefully now we're going to have a little bit of motion blur also on the objects that are exploding. And this is going to really sell the idea that this is like a sort of like a ray that it's shooting into the core and it's making an explosion. Look at that. Maybe the motion blur is too fast, but it's okay. It's fine. Yeah, I like that. Now, as you can see, this corner down here, it's too dark. We have to fix that. And also, like, up here, it's probably too greenish. Let me stop the render. Woo, wawawiza! I'm getting excited. You see, doing is the antidote to procrastination. Because I sat down and I say, I'm going to do it and I'm going to upload it on YouTube and people are going to be judging me for what I do, I'm gonna get it done. And I'm getting it done. Let me try and make this orange and let's see what happens if I get some contrast. And also, like, let me make a copy, whoops, of this light to the other side. R. What's up, Dusan? So nice to see you here. Michael, dimmer second light below the cube. Details are not visible, just a suggestion. There's the light dimmer, then the second light below the cube. Oh man, it's too early in the morning for me to understand what you're saying, and it's, you know, it's not you, it's me, okay? My brain is not computing right now. It's trying to. Let me try and see if this changes something. Let me put it a little bit lower. Yes, okay. Okay, good. Main light there. That's Napolitan, it means on the floor. Below the which color? I wanna have it blue. I wanna have it blue, and I wanna have it maybe only 4. And it's only for the bottom corner. Maybe should be a little bit smaller, but it's okay. Let's try it. Nah, what the fuck, man? This is horrible. Stop. Make it 10 only %, and too big. Let's re-render. Let's see what happens. Then I need to make this light a little bit stronger. Let me see. Stop. 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 Let me try and make this light a little bit stronger. Maybe a little bit bigger. Um, 15, maybe a little bit less saturated because there is too much color leaking into the image. Let's take a look. Ah, okay. No, it's okay. It's not you. As I told you, like my brain is very slow at computing right now. But this is getting a lot better. Yes, I like that. I think there should be a little bit more. Actually, why am I complicating things so much? Why am I such an idiot? I tell people to keep it simple all the time. And still, I'm here trying to act like a scientist. Let me just put a light on the side. Like this. And actually, you know what? Is there a possibility inside the light to put a... can I put a texture? Do you know, guys, if I can put a texture inside the light? Units, there is a color here. No, color, intensity. So I guess I cannot really use an image for a light, right? I could use a geometry with a light. Nah, it's okay. I don't want to complicate my life too much. I have to start making lunch, otherwise my wife is gonna eat the dog. Shit, I realized that later she's gonna watch this and she's gonna be like, why you talk like this about me? I'm in trouble. Dusan knows what I'm talking about. Yes, I like that. I like that. Okay, Michael, good teamwork, man. Good teamwork. Okay, guys, I think that this is going to be my entry for this challenge, because I don't really have a lot of time that I can spend on it. But I hope that you find it somehow inspiring. I'm not expecting you to be inspired by this work, but maybe if you were stuck for ideas, or if you were playing around with the model and didn't really know what to do, maybe this motivates you to get the model, open 3ds Max, Cinema 4D, SketchUp, whatever it is that you use, and make your own artwork. Yeah, I really hope so. Anyway, I can put some laser around the cube. Oh, I could do a lot of things. But anyway, this morning I gave the cube to Mike Winkelmann, Beeple, and I told him, try and enter also with the competition. Let's see what you do. And hopefully he's going to make also an artwork, and then we can compare your artwork, guys, from home with his artwork, and then we can make fun of him for all the things that he said during the judging of the last competition. Anyway, guys, thanks a lot for watching. I'm going to stop the stream because I gotta start cooking. I really hope that you find this useful. Please share the video of the challenge with others so that they can join the competition. We have a lot of prizes, and the cool thing is that there is a lot more sponsors which are joining us and that are trying to be a part of this small activity that we're doing within the community. I appreciate all the love, all the support, and all the positive comments and likes. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you guys hopefully soon. Bye-bye.